Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Tabletop Junkie. And I am your host, Tabletop Junkie, here to bring you the news, or the reviews, or both even, of tabletop RPGs. I'm sorry, I should say the full word, tabletop role-playing games. And with me today, I have our reoccurring guest star. This is his second time with me, as it is my second video. And I'm going to introduce him first because we also have another hot player guest star, and I call them hot players because they show up to all of my sessions. So they're hot players to me. If I was a big businessman running a big time soup company, and they came in one day, they'd be getting, looks at my private stock at discounted prices. So I'm gonna offer the first customer of this, famous, figuratively metaphorical company that doesn't exist. Maybe it exists in Fate Core, because that's what we're here to talk about. Fate Core reviews again, and hopefully maybe we can wrap some of this up. But Fate Core is a very, very easygoing system, but a lot of information. So we're gonna try and share some examples. So the first person I'm gonna bring on is my good player, Toby.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Glad to be here.
I'm glad. Well, I'm glad that you're glad to be here. And let's not keep the other guest star waiting. Well, clam chowder. Oh man, I don't offer food on my soup shelf. We'll cover that in a minute because I want to get the other hot player out here because I have a lot of respect for this other player. Not that I don't have a lot of respect for Toby, but I do have a lot of respect for both of these guys. I just want to point that out. But I have a lot of respect for this other player because I've known him for a long time, and he is here on the stream, and if anyone here's got more information than me, it's him. So let me introduce to you guys my good friend. Aside from Toby, he's my good friend too. My good friend, the Witch King.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully, despite this being kind of our first official stream, we can advance from here and get a bit better at YouTube eventually. Yeah. But I'm Witch King, and I am here to talk about Fate Core. So let's get started, shall we?
I hope we get better too. I hope we start getting views. I don't know. Anyway,
hey, one of the videos had 6 views. Got to start off somewhere.
Well, it's a start, and I we're working on more subscribers. So anyway, let's dive into the famous game Fate Core. The Fate Core system by Evil Hat Productions. I have a lot of respect for that company. I got to say that right now. Anyway, we left off talking about game aspects, and I just want to point out that game aspects are what you would consider as permanent fixtures of games, hence the name. They may change. They virtually never go anywhere, and the GM, as well as players, can compel or invoke them as long as it makes sense to the story of why they're doing it. They can create advantages to help each other, or the GM can use them against the players. A couple good examples, and I don't know if the Witch King was in on this one. Witch King, were you also in on that zombie game as well with Toby?
I played like partially a session because I think something came up when you tried to run it for me. But I did get invited to it. I just had other stuff going on.
Yeah, he's one of the players on the list. I just don't remember playing with Reese. Well, sorry, with Witch King.
It's okay, man.
We'll just forget about that. Retcon. That happens a lot in RPGs. Anyway,
it was the fact that I was looking at Roll20 and then I saw his name. And I'm like, oh, right there.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. Let me see. Well, a good example of a game aspect that because I use game aspects in most of my games, if not all of them. A game aspect is something that I use as a quest. It's an open objective that the players have to either defeat or change. You don't really ever defeat a game aspect. If you do beat it, then the GM usually throws something else at you that pertains to that. It's like, well, you got the chalice, but with the chalice, you unleashed a curse onto the world. So the objective of getting the chalice and use it for whatever you want to use it for gets ripped up, but then now you got another objective, the curse, and it just keeps the game rolling. Game aspects are a very resourceful tool. Yeah, at least that's what I think. Anyway, I'm gonna we're gonna give the Witch King a little bit of time here, and I wanted to know what he thought about game aspects.
Game aspects, I think they're pretty innovative. They definitely add a bit of a simplistic, but not in a bad way, kind of flair to the game, because pretty much everything can be described with aspects. And I think that's actually pretty ingenious. I mean, even for a game that's been around for 20 years at this point. And honestly, the fact that they can be switched out and they can, like, initially when I first started playing Fate Core or Fate in general, I had a difficulty with coming up with aspects because I thought they had to be all flowery and poetic and kind of much more difficult than they had to be. But with Junkie's help, I've been able to understand aspects a bit easier because they don't have to be like they are in the book. They can be just an occupation or a title or a quote or all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be like it says in the book.
Well, I'm going to say this right now, too, since you gave me credit on that. I want to point out to our streamers as well and any viewers that see this video, it was actually the Witch King that got me into Fate Core. He tried for 2 years to get me in, and it kept failing. Well, after 2 years, I gave in, and I love this system. I fell in love with the system. And it's not the only thing he ever got me into. Even recently, he got me into some recent games that we will talk about at a later time. So, you know, he's very masterful, very much knowledgeable when it comes to tabletop RPGs. I think he's more of a lore master. I'm a junkie. I'm the type of guy that's got to sit down and play every single one of them. He has knowledge to say, hey, junkie, have you heard anything about this yet? No? Well, let me review it. I don't think I'm going to be interested in it. Yeah, okay, I'm interested in it. Let's go. You know, so for him to give me the credit of helping him understand the system a bit better, it was because of him. I even got in the system, so I'm going to give that credit right back to him.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, Toby, how about you?
What was the question again?
Game aspects. What do you think? Your opinion on
really
game aspects?
Fun, especially we're just talking about game aspect, not character aspect, right?
Correct, like the objectives, like the stuff I throw out on the table at you guys.
Oh yeah, they're fun, and it's because I was looking at the zombie game because that's the only one that I think I saw a game aspect still on the board.
Toby, I love the fact that how you reference our games because we have so many of them, and I'm about ready to release something to all of you guys here in a little bit. I'm not quite done with it yet. Let's just say I've got a bun baking in the oven, and no, I know that's a baby reference, everybody, but that's not what I'm talking about. I've got something baking in the oven. So when it gets close to being done, I'm going to show you guys because it's not going to be fully done. It's like a souffle, you know. I don't even know how you cook souffle, but
I think the two aspects that are still on the board because they were little index cards, right?
Yes.
We had bulk resources and zombie slayer. And those were interesting because if you ran out of your resources, it's
those were situational aspects.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think I kept the game aspects on another one. One was the virus was spreading. You know, something entailing to how fast the zombie virus spreads. And then one was I introduced another one that the mosquitoes was carrying the virus.
Yeah, which was oh no.
yeah. Apparently, we found out that mosquitoes can carry the zombie virus, and oh hey, you happen to be in a place where the army ran out of Seminole.
We hadn't told us that yet.
Oh yeah, that's the future. Yep. You were gonna take off, and then the whole base was gonna be zombified. I ruined it. Oh well.
Here I think I found one. It's the hero game. There's still stuff there. So there's world. Crime erupts all over, so there's crime everywhere.
Yep, that would be a
world government's under political. What is that?
Under political collapse.
Yeah, just doesn't say collapse. It starts with a S. Surge. And all countries on the verge of economic collapse.
Ah, okay. Oh, there was a political surge about them fighting. I think. Yeah. There should be a
those were interesting because it was as the heroes. It's now we have to stop crime. Oh, and then we have to try and make a living outside of being a hero because there's the economic collapse. And
then, you have to take on political countries,
yeah,
which means you have to take sides. And
Yep.
yet you can't take sides because that's a human thing.
Mhm.
Or no, mundane thing. Let's use mundane because you could be a human and still be a super.
Yeah. But it was
mundane.
Like I said, I find most game aspects very interesting because I see them as obstacles you have to try and get around, although you'll probably never get around them. It's just something you have to adapt to. And your characters have to learn how to live with it.
Yeah.
That's what I see them.
Who doesn't
What do you
like?
I've never ran Fate Core, so I only have a player's perspective.
But that's what
I have kind of run Fate Core, but that group and I did just not mesh, and also it wasn't Fate Core; it was Spirit of the Century.
Fate Core hack.
No, it's a game that came out before Fate Core, like in 2006 or 8.
Oh, so it was something totally different then, or
yeah, it's basically Fate 2.0.
Because Fate Core is actually the 3.0 version.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. I remember seeing the history on Fate Core, and that is it. For anyone who doesn't know, the system that we are talking about is the Fate Core edition that you can get from Evil Hat Productions website or Drive-Thru RPG, but that is technically the 3.0 version. Back, I think it was early 2000s or early 90s. Believe it or not, Fate actually has stemmed out throughout the ages, but they had the 2.0 and the 1.0 version, which was, I think, a bit more messier of a version than what this one is. This is more, I don't want to say condensed, because there is a Fate condensed version, but I would say a lot more order. There's a lot more order to the chaos. And to me, that when everyone says Fate Core, it's like, okay, we're going to make characters that cause chaos, but the GM's job is to make sure that stays focused. And that's that's one thing I got to add about game aspects that I like. I think they keep focus. I think they help the players keep focused about what they're really trying to achieve. So, all right, so moving on to our next topic, about aspects, is to talk about situational aspects, which is they're temporary and tended to last only for maybe a single scene or a little bit longer, but not longer than a session. At the end of the session, generally they go away. These aspects are usually attached to environment of the scenes of which they're placed in, like a dark room. You enter a room, it's a dark room, dark and creepy room. What can I say? So you're in a dark and creepy room where you're being stalked by this like wolf that can see in the dark, but you can't see in the dark. So you get a -2 to noticing that there's anything in the room with you. See how that works? It's just so. However, because you're still in a dark and creepy room, maybe the animal that's stalking you might be sensitive to light. So you shine a flashlight at it. Ha.
Yeah.
But if you're using like a light stick, it won't be affected potentially.
No, you would need a light focus, a flashlight, or turning
like
the lights on would be
like a lit torch.
Exactly, or a really bright lantern. You know what? Just throw a flashbang on the ground.
Yeah.
Boom!
Everyone's blind.
Well, but the creature's gonna be blind too. So
that's why you cover
but you
your
didn't
eyes.
join the party because maybe the creature understands human language. Everyone, close your eyes. Okay.
The guy looks up, it's like, oh, I finally got my vision. Oh crap! He covered his ears.
Yeah.
He knew what I was doing. Turns out it wasn't just any normal creature. It was a werewolf. Love Fate Core.
It understood us. Oh no.
Yeah, these are generally just like, immediate obstacles, contextual details, just changes. They're very very easy to work with, and you don't really have to like spend a lot of time trying to name them either, because they don't last very long. They last longer than a boost, which we will discover that. I don't even know if we talked about boosts yet, but they last longer than a boost, but they don't last as long as a session. And if they do, it's because you probably picked it up at the end of the session. But if you picked it up at the beginning of the session, it should be like after 2-3 hours of gameplay, it should be well done and over with, unless for some reason your characters are stuck in one scene And it's like, well, at that point, you guys might as well be playing a different game system because that's not how Fate Core is supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to, Fate Core allows a more fast-paced cinematic, but it makes sense. It just don't focus so much on the rules. Just focus on the details and the cinematics. I love cinematics. I think we can use this system to make movies.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to know something, the guy who created Leverage and
the librarians, yes,
was like the executive producer. I think is
John Rogers.
Yeah, John Rogers.
Yeah.
He used Fate Core to stat out a bunch of his characters in the librarians.
Yes, he actually did, and he does. I do see that. That is. Well, I'm not going to mention what YouTube video, but it is on a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
He does share that details. John Rogers, man, he is like my hero. Him and Ryan Macklin are my heroes. And Ryan Macklin, for those who don't know, he's actually a co-creator of Fate Core. I just think how him and his co-creators just came up with this system, or came up with how they designed it, the 3.0 version anyway. I think it's just ingenious. It's just purely ingenious. Speaking of ingeniousness, going to talk about getting close to the end here about aspects. And one of the things I do want to share, one of the last things I want to share is we're going to talk about a character's consequences.
Oh, no.
Toby, you got something to say already?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never had stupid consequences. What? No. I've never had my character do something stupid.
I think consequences make the game fun. The game gives you this like I'm a superpowered person. Crap my arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God! Someone punched me so hard. He punched my lung in my rib cage. Take a -4 to all your physical rolls. Here's a fate point to do that. So, a consequence is more permanent than
to accept your fate point, thus I don't have to take the maintenance for roll.
The only problem is when it comes to consequences, I do kind of force that on you guys, I feel like, because it makes sense with consequences. Mm-hmm. See, consequences are like, if out of all the aspects, I think that's the easiest thing to make sense towards, because you're talking about either a physical or mental injury. Consequences can cover a physical consequence or a mental consequence. And what I mean by that, it can engulf a physical injury or a mental injury. You can be mentally hurt here. Toby, you suck as a player. Are you mentally hurt yet? Or did you roll a decent will check?
I'm just crying. It's okay.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Witch King, I'm sorry, but you broke your arm.
Oh no.
That elbow's broken. Or did you succeed at the physique roll?
It turns out I did succeed, but I actually bumped into a spike and it punctured my lung.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
So I thought you were gonna say you tripped me into a pit of spikes.
No. You have enough done to you.
Oh man. So you succeeded at the physique roll, but failed at the notice roll.
And now liquid is pouring into my lungs.
God. Fate Core is
guess your wounds.
There's no magic in this one.
I know.
Yeah, this is modern day pulp adventure. So yeah, you die. It's done. You're done.
So a consequence, if everyone doesn't, to dumb down what a consequence is, it really is just a more permanent than a situation aspect, but not quite as permanent as a character aspect. They do eventually go away. At near the end of the session, you need to sometimes, depending on what it is and depending on what milestone you hit, you need to roll to see if you're in the healing phase. But depending on the milestone, and we'll talk about milestones at a later date or later time, depending on the milestone may actually automatically put your character in that state. So it just depends on the severity of your consequence, because you have 3 consequence boxes. You can have an option for a 4th consequence box, but we'll discover that at a later time. Mm-hmm. They are a special kind of aspect to avoid getting taken out. You can use the shifts that you receive for an injury and cover each consequence box has a value of 2, 4, 6, minor, moderate, and severe. There is an extreme consequence, but we'll cover that at a later time as well. They usually stick around for a variable length of time. Some one you can actually clear out at the end of the session, out of one session. The others may take a couple, depending on what kind of milestone you hit. So, and like I said, the values are 2, 4, 6. So if you got like a 4, like Witch King walked into a spike and it did 4 damage to him. So instead of taking out stress boxes, because each there's stress boxes on a character sheet of 1, 2, 3, 4, and he only had 3. So instead of taking a third and a first point out, he just put in punctured lung under 4, and the consequence, and that covered the shift value, and he keeps all his stress boxes. We'll cover that at more detail at a later time. Real quick before we move on, though, I do want to ask Witch King. Since I asked Toby first last time, I'm going to ask you your consequences. What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
Consequences, I think I actually enjoy a bit more than something like hit points, because even though it's more abstracted, at the same time it's a bit easier to imagine. Like, because I mean, I imagine that most people who play something like D&D or the various OSR games have different ideas about what hit points are like. And there's, of course, many interpretations to that online. But when it comes to consequences and Fate Core, and Fate in general, despite it being more abstract, as I mentioned, it's honestly much easier. Because then you have a much more clear-cut idea of what is going on with your character. And it's inflicted by the narrative in the game as it goes on, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, Witch King, I gotta say, you made me think of a meme that I saw today earlier. I saw this meme. It's of this paladin girl that has multiple swords, arrows, daggers, everything's stabbed her, poking out, and the meme goes like this: I only have 1 HP left. That's okay. All I need is a nap and a snack.
Yeah, that's kind of an issue with 5th edition, Pathfinder, and those kind of games.
See, in Fate Core, we would be, okay, 2 consequence, bleeding out. 4th consequence, broken arm. She's barely hanging onto her sword. 6th consequence, multiple chest wounds. All her stress boxes but 1 is checked off. She still has all her mental stress boxes. The point is, it'd be a little bit more realistic, because now you're looking at more figuratively, like we call those in those games critical damage. This is normal damage for Fate Core, and I like that, because it gives more, no matter what setting you're playing in, it gives you a more realistic feel. So, Toby, I do need your opinion before we move on regarding consequences.
Oh, they're beautiful. It's oh yeah, great, ouch, oh no, bigger ouch, oh no, biggest ouch. And it's I agree with you that as much as I love D&D, it's ridiculous of how quickly your characters can heal. It's oh yeah, no, it's my stomach was cut open and I sleep for what, an hour, and I'm at full health, so I'm perfectly fine.
To give everyone an idea comparative to what Toby just said, because Toby, you just made me think of something else. Like he said, a nap and a snack, basically. In Fate Core, at the end of the scene, like if you manage to escape a scene alive, you get all your stress boxes back. However, all your consequences remain. Now, if you end the session on a minor milestone, you get rid of all the stress boxes damage that you take if you haven't already, and then you can get rid of your minor or your mild consequence, which is the second consequence value. But you still keep your 4 and your 6. At the end of that session, you need to roll to rename them. Now, some GMs do it like this. When you rename them, show them that you're healing, you can keep them in the same stress box or the same consequence box. Me, I allow my players to signify their healing is, okay, I'm healing from a broken arm. It's in a cast. So I have them move it from 4 to 2 and then 6 to 4. And then they have to wait till the next session on a minor milestone at minimum to get rid of that 2 stress box. They have to play with that broken arm for the whole next session.
Yep.
So I like that. That's more realistic because you're like, oh, it doesn't matter what happened last session. I'm coming back with full health. And it's like, no, not in Fate Core. You're not. It's just, you know what? And I get the Witch King's confusion when he said he had confusion about, he thinks everything has to be poetic. This system itself, to me, speaks poetry. I can understand where the confusion came from for you, Witch King, because this is poetic. This is the biggest poetic system ever. Yeah. Why not? And honestly, you're not the only one that has made that mistake. I've seen reviews. And like I said, I'm not going to name what I've seen, but exactly where I've seen it at. I'm just going to say I've seen reviews and I've heard things from the grapevine regarding other players. They were in the same boat. So definitely not alone in that universe or world or boat. So all right, well, we're going to cover this last thing about aspects, and then we're finally done with aspects, everybody. Yay! Well, we covered aspects in the last version too, but I had to cut it short because I had something I had to go do. Anyway, but so we picked up aspects in the middle of it. So my favorite one, I don't know, aspects are all my favorite ones, I guess. But this one is
your favorite of your favorites.
Not really. I mean, okay, so let me explain what this aspect is. We're talking about boosts. Okay, boosts are super transient kind of aspect. They only last for a short time. They're very much impermanent. And what you mean by short time, we're talking if you pick up the boost just before the end of the session, it's still gone. It doesn't last very long. Generally, depending on how well you roll, you may only get 1 free invoke on it. That's it. One use. So after you use, I mean, it can go to the next session, but as soon as you use it, it's gone. Boom, one time. Now, I've been known, depending on how well you guys roll, and you guys have known this, that I would give you I put multiple stress boxes on a boost and allow you guys to name them. That's generally, they're a little bit more impermanent, or they're a little bit more permanent, but they're still impermanent because once all the stress boxes go away, it goes away. And you can't get the stress box, once you mark off the boxes of how many invokes it has, free or not free, it's still, it goes away. It doesn't matter. And it's never coming back. You can't restore it. So, that is just, it's a very easy way for the players to get an upper hand, especially if they definitely deserve it. I've been known to always go boost happy with my players because I mean,
we appreciate it.
Well, with Fate Core, I want us to focus on the story. That's why we play Fate Core. I'm not here to worry about the rules and the system. As long as I don't do anything too far out there and chaotic, I think we have some pretty successful games. Mm-hmm. Toby,
yes.
What's your opinions on boost?
They are fun. They can be a little bit chaotic though, because it's it's gone. Oh, I would have used it last time. Darn it! Because they can be a little confusing of when can and when can't you use it.
Yeah,
and it's because they are situational. Like, I wasn't gonna do that in this scene, but now I kind of want to because I want to be able to use this boost.
Right.
It's kind of metagamey, but also with a lot of these narrative type games, that's kind of necessary for how the game works. Not that I am a fan of it 100%, but I still have fun with the game, nevertheless.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Tabletop, but can't you as a player give yourself a boost?
No.
By using a fate point?
No. No. That's not how a boost works.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, you could for some reason.
Well, you spend a fate point to give yourself a +2, and a boost generally does that. However, let's say, for instance, let's use examples before we move on to anything else. Let's use examples here of what a boost is. Okay. So a good example is you guys are running for some reason, some mobsters. Okay. Yeah. You're in a car. Okay. Toby, you're driving. Witch King is out there shooting. Okay. You guys, I need you to roll for a drive because they're gaining on you And if you can't handle high-speed pursuit, the car's going to waver by. Well, to handle high-speed pursuit, you just need a 3 or better on a roll. Now, I mean, not the roll. You need your between a roll and a drive skill, you need a 3 or better. You have already a 3 to drive. You roll. Let's see here.
I'm doing it right now too.
Okay, you roll a.
Hold on, I got a 3 to drive, rolling it. I got a. Scroll all the way down. 5.
Okay, that's a horrible example. So let me back this up. You only need a 2 or better, and then that way you got the 3. Okay, you succeed with style. You keep that car straight. You are an expert driver. And guess what? In the chase, that car is getting further back. Well, I give you a boost for that because you succeed with style, which gains your success and an extra benefit. The extra benefit would be the boost. And I would say expert driver. You get 1 use. So if you want to use it again, you can use it to leave the scene and lose the people. However, you can't use it right now because it's the Witch King's turn. And Witch King's back there trying to shoot at the car while they're shooting at him with the other driver. Yeah. Now this is what we're going to call, we're going to get into rules later because there's 2 types of opposition, static and dynamic. That passive or active, they're the same thing. And one of the things I'm definitely I can't wait to get into that to show that because I love that. So you have, so Toby had a static example. The Witch King's going to get a dynamic example because, it's a moving car, so, I got to keep so my NPCs have to keep their car straight while shooting at your car. And you're keeping your car straight, but now he has to be able to aim while being shot at. So yeah. So, but the Witch King has a +4 to shoot. Just wanted to be and not only does he have a +4 to shoot, he has his high concept is overly active gunslinger.
I'm basically an action hero out of the movie Wanted.
And he also has a stunt that gives him +2 to shoot whenever he's
in a high-speed pursuit with adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
While wielding a gun.
whenever he's riding something, like a cowboy, gunslinger, so horse, car, whatever.
Doesn't matter. He's in high-speed pursuit. The adrenaline's pumping. He gets a +2 to shoot. So not only does he have a +4, now he has a +6 because of his stunt. Oh, and by the way, he rolls a +3. Okay. My guys, meanwhile, can't defend against it. The only defense they have is the drive skill. Well, I roll the NPC's drive skill is only a +1. I roll another 1. That's a 2. So we got a +2 with a +6 added. So +8 for the Witch King. I only get a +2, which leaves a 6 stress shift. So the Witch King's character does hit the vehicle for 6 damage. That's how that works.
Mm-hmm. It's really simple, honestly.
And it's a whole lot of fun because, especially if you play with dynamic, you don't know what you're going to need right away to win. And it keeps the suspense going and the cinematic going too. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. The whole reason why I said what I said, John, that was what I was going to do. Because if it's only one car chasing us, my character might have thought, hey, I'll just pull a maneuver to where I drift, and then I drift to where we're facing each other, and I'll chicken them. We'll play chicken until.
Well, because you got
car, you make it go boom.
Right. Well, because you got the boost last time, that's a free invoke, so you don't even need to spend a fate point for it. So you say, okay, that's what you want to do. You boost it. You boost your drive from a 3 to a 5. You roll another 2, which is 7. Well, guess what? The driver's will now has to roll, and his will is still he doesn't even have a will. So I rolled and got a -3. And this guy has suffered some mental stress. He's like, fuck that. And because the mental stress was so much, and he's only an NPC and probably nameless, which we will get into the different NPCs later on. He doesn't just move out of the way. He crashes into a building and it gets set on fire with all of them inside.
Woo, we win.
Well, you still got the mob boss. He wasn't in the car. He's in a different car. You're driving away for right now. You're leaving the scene. you're leaving the scene to hide for now, but there's more to that story later on. Isn't Fate Core fun? Real quick, Witch King, did you give your opinion on Boost yet?
I
know Toby did. I just
think
want to
I
make sure.
did. I think what I said was that they're kind of metagamey, but if you get into the system and you're having fun with it, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter.
That's exactly, that's to me, that's what Fate Core stands for. It's just the fun. Don't worry about the rules. It's a rules light system. It's rules light for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of rules light, our next topic is going to be probably our most favorite, since we just kind of had fun setting up a pretend scene, acting like we were rolling, except Toby really did roll.
Because one of my characters had a drive of 3, and I'm like, I might as well.
Well, our next topic is skills. So, oh no, we're finally at skills. Okay, never mind. All right. So skills a skill is basically a word that describes a broad family of competency as something as such like athletics, fight, deceive. You guys get the point. Skills are the basis for everything your character does in the game and involves challenges and chance. Skill rolls are rated on what you call the ladder. We all love the ladder. We all love the ladder, especially my ladders. My ladders are always homemade. I don't go with just a ladder in the book. I make a homemade ladder and some really cool names on I spend out the ladder. So that way you guys are never really off the ladder. You're still on the ladder, but you're in some godly stuff. So for instance, the ladder in the book has a -2. Well, in the demonstration, we are going to have a demonstration after this review on another stream. It's going to be the same channel, just, separate from this one because we don't have enough time to get into it. It's called The White Rabbit, and I actually have a -3 and a -4 statted out on the ladder.
Oh, wow.
-3 is horrific, and -4 is why the hell are you trying?
Pretty much.
I think so. I think it's something like that. It's very funny. Skills are basically defined in 2 ways in Fate. In-game action, and then in context, which you can use them. The basic game actions that each skill does provide is overcome, create an advantage, attack, and defend. I don't think there's... No, actually there is. There is a couple skills that allow you to do all 4. Which is, I think, just fight and shoot, which is just attack. No, correction, because attack... I think fight does defend, but I don't think shoot allows defend. But we'll have to review that at a later time just to be sure. But you can also unlock an action by spending a fate point, unlocking action that skill doesn't normally do, and explain to the GM why it does that. So fate points are very powerful items, aren't they?
Oh yeah. They're fun too.
There are some skills with some special effects, such as physique and will. They do determine how many stress boxes and consequences you get. By default, a character gets 2 stress boxes for physical and mental, and you get 3 consequence slots. But you do have the option of get a second number 2 value consequence slot, and then you got 3 and 4 point stress boxes for physical and mental stress. And even though you only have 4 basic actions that each skill can perform, some might be limited to a couple of actions. But also don't worry all about that, I would say, because it's Fate Core. It's fun. If you can explain how your character is using the skill and what they can do to how they're using it, and as long as it makes sense and the GM allows it, that's the greatest thing about Fate Core. It allows for so much flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
So
now I will say that the flexibility only works for certain kinds of games, because if you want to play a character who is like a Lovecraftian, like a H.P. Lovecraft character, it's not going to go as well, because Fate Core characters are very proactive and powerful characters, and they can really affect change in their games and the world at large. But if you wanted to do something like Call of Cthulhu or Some of the OSR games, like Labyrinth Lord, where you're starting out at first level or even 0 level in some games, I don't think Fate Core is the best choice for that. But yeah, just wanted to add that in there.
Well, I will say this. I actually do appreciate that opinion, but I also say too, balance. You have to make sure you can find a balance. If you can't find a balance inside Fate Core, then it's possibly a bad idea. And the reason why I say that is because I think you can do a Call of Cthulhu campaign using
Or
Fate Core
Eldritch
as
Horror.
long Eldritch Horror, yeah.
Because we did an Eldritch Horror, like
Yeah, you just
we
got to
did,
make
like,
sure
weekend.
whatever like the monsters you like. Okay, when we're talking about Eldritch Horror, you have to make sure the Eldritch Horror monsters are on footing with the players, because that's the idea. They're supposed to be more powerful than the players, or the player characters. Excuse me, I should use PCs. They should be more powerful than that. They're horrific monsters. One of the things I notice a lot of people don't put in their games is the ability where they translate insanity. When you're seeing a horrific monster, you need to lose mental stress easily or take a mental consequence. And I notice a lot of people don't do that, and that's where I think that's where the Call of Cthulhu. I think that's where we lose the Call of Cthulhu stuff at, or the Eldritch Horror stuff at, because they don't kind of give the correct footing for them. I think I might be able to do it, but I will say this: Fate Core will not give you the same satisfaction as the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu book.
Yeah.
And the mechanics from Chaosium. I
Yeah.
will say that. I've ran Eldritch Horror with Fate Core, but I think I get much more satisfaction out of the actual mechanic, the actual game book of Call of Cthulhu.
That's
That's
what it's
exactly
meant for. It was designed more or less for the Cthulhu mythos, so it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Exactly. And I love percentile systems a little bit. Not for everything. But like I said, I like Fate Core for a lot of things, but it's not for everything. But it's just easy to get into. With Fate Core, I notice I kind of stick with either modern. I steer away from fantasy. I either do modern or futuristic, like Star Wars stuff. I don't do Star Trek. Star Trek is just, for me, I can't do Star Trek and Fate Core. However, thanks to Modifius in the release of Star Trek Adventures, I think that is a perfect system for Star Trek personally. But anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic here regarding games, but the Witch King's got a hound dog in the back. The dogs are coming for you. They're coming for you.
I barred the door. They can't get to me.
That's the mobster's dog right there.
I barred the door. They can't get to me.
Yes, because you were in the toilet.
I locked the door.
But you don't have a window to crawl out of, so you just gotta make sure they don't eat.
I'll pull a monkey move and throw, and it'll be nasty.
All right, moving on.
Art of flung poo. Hiya!
I somehow don't think that's going to work out for you, even in Fate Core. you're gonna need to roll. You're gonna need to roll high for that. It's gonna have to be a high fight. Crap! Your fight is a +2. Crap! I rolled a -2. It's a 0. Those dogs came through the door.
I'm using all 3 of my fate points. It's a +6. Hiya!
You only had 2.
3, right?
Well, yeah. Never mind. You never did spend a fate point. Yeah, you lost 3. It's a 6. I snapped the dog's necks, and I'm making it out. Oh crap! It's the mob boss coming up the door. No fate points. No fate points. Deceive. I don't have deceive. It's mediocre. -4. He does not believe you. He picks you up. You're still breathing. That was the worst you ever did. Guess what? That just gave you a situation aspect. You can't lie. Speaking of aspects,
it wasn't me. It was totally me.
All right. Woo, let's bring this back down to topic here because we're still on skills. Fate Core does come with a set of 18 skills by default, and the GM can change, add, or subtract skills from the list if it doesn't fit into the game. Such as I do, depending on the type of setting we're playing into, I do change lore to academics, and then sometimes I add in a couple. So, like, personally, I don't think crafts is very good on repair. I think when you think of crafts, I think of making something from scratch using a rubber band and a stick of glue.
Yeah.
So for repairs, I use mechanics, and then, well, I don't use drive for piloting a plane. I use pilot. So it's pretty much the same thing as drive, but instead of, rolling drive for a plane, because what makes you think you're a pilot is beyond me, without the pilot
I'm
skills.
skilled.
So you're not that skilled.
Oh, come on.
Okay, all right. Well, let's say you didn't take the pilot skill, but you're gonna apply your drive skill to it. Well, because you don't have pilot, and I will allow drive, because you're like, well, I can drive a car somewhat. What's the difference, right? -2 to your drive, so you got a +1, and you roll a -2 on the dice, so now you got a -1. That plane did not take off, and as a matter of fact, you don't even know how to stop it because you're heading straight to the watchtower. Bam!
All right,
Bam!
boys, hold on. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Bumpy ride. We're not taking off. You breach the gates, and now you're going off into the city with the plane still. You're trying to figure out how to get it to lift off.
I'm lifting the yoke. Why won't it pull up?
because I'm going to give you another -2, and you can't use drive. You got to find another way to use a skill to do it, and you have no more fate points, so you can't add another action. So you're going to have to roll for a. Let's see. You got a +3 to drive. I'm going to give you a -2 to that. So you're going to have to roll with a 1 try to see if you can take off. Guess what? You got a -1. It's still a 0.
Ah.
And you go into oncoming traffic because for some reason you're on the wrong side of the road.
Whee!
And you're like, I need to warn these people, there's no horn. And you're just barrel rolling over some innocent civilians.
And that's when I just leave the chat.
Ran over some babies too.
No. I'd stop you as a player. I'd be like, no. Let's not do that.
Well, technically speaking, I think that's kind of given when you're kind of in a big city.
Shh. Let me live in peaceful ignorance and bliss.
I will say
children
this,
were harmed in the making of this project.
No promises. I'm evil. I am demented. All right, we're done. Let's move on to the next topic of skills. So, some of the skills that, Fate Core does present is athletics, burglary, contract. You guys can look this up in the book. I'm not going to go through all of them. I think we spent enough time on skills, and I think I ruined Toby mentally today. I think
you're fine.
He definitely suffered some. Well, you did suffer some mental stress at the beginning.
I've healed.
Yeah, I don't think so. We're still in the session.
Well, we moved on to a different scene.
Right after the plane accident, he finally decided to go into hiding, and he sees a mobster psychiatrist. Give me an empathy roll.
All right, you got it, boss. Hold on. Am I using the world heroes or zombies?
Neither. Do you have empathy on either of those character sheets?
No, on that one. Give me just 1 second to check the zombies.
Hold on, I may have to mute myself again because my dogs are barking again.
That's fine.
But,
that's fine.
Yeah.
We're about to ask for opinions just now, so it'll take a brief moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because Toby really wants to see if he has restored any of his mental stress from this whole
I'm
stream.
Screwed.
Nope. Oh no. Oh, give me a straight up roll.
I'll do any zombies. Just how do I even roll? I'll do this. Just say it's empathy, not stealth, and take away the minus and minus it by 1. So I rolled a 1.
Well, maybe you did gain 1 stress box back.
Yay! I'm healed.
1 mental stress box. That's not the physical damage that you suffered so far.
Hush.
Anyway, what is your guys' Witch King? Are you still here with us? Or?
I'm still here.
Okay, Witch King. what is your personal opinions on skills for Fate Core?
Honestly, I like the design aspect of them, but the fact that you can't really advance your skills in a traditional way, and one of the ways you advance is you kind of switch your skills around, I feel like that's probably a detriment to the system. I mean, if you're running a short campaign, I think it would work well, but if you're running like a 6 month to years long campaign, it doesn't make much sense to me because the number of skills that a character could have wouldn't be this. It wouldn't be static and the same the entire time they're in play, in my opinion, anyways. So in some ways I like it, but in a lot of other ways it's not my favorite part of the system.
I will agree to that entire opinion. I'm backing you up on that one.
But isn't there a way to upgrade your skills through like
Yes,
minor
there
or
is, but that,
milestone?
flipping around.
Well, no, but not
but
even by switching them around. By like say
but
here,
you, but you have
like
to
all my
achieve.
characters
Well,
don't have empathy. I can use a minor
right.
skill and put empathy and
But
move
you have to
further up.
achieve a significant or major milestone. So depending on how big the campaign you're playing, you're supposed to break up the milestones accordingly.
Yeah.
A minor milestone is something that you get every session regardless. A significant is something when you have a breakthrough in the story. A major is when you pretty much beat the story or ended the story. So it's very rarely does anyone ever come. I feel like that's a rare instance. Like when we finish a story, we never really pick it back up. So who gives a crap about the major milestone? Significant, you run across those every time. Trust me, I've been trying to use Star Wars as a setting as a way to help advance that because I love Star Wars. Who doesn't love Star? Okay, I love Star Wars before the last 3 movies came out.
I
I
will
still love
say
Star
that I
Wars, but I
like
don't count the
Star
last 3
Wars.
movies.
I will say that I like aspects of the new Star Wars movies, but overall they're not good. But that doesn't deny the fact that Star Wars as an overall setting and a franchise that stretches back to 77 is bad. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but honestly, I don't think the last 3 movies or any of the solo movies, like the one shot movies, basically ruin Star Wars for me. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm probably one of the weirdos, but I really think that the prequel movies are not as bad as people said they are because they probably haven't watched them in like 20 years.
I
I
came
agree with you.
across I came across a stream where someone said there is irony in Star Wars because back when Star Wars first came out, everyone loved the original series, and and everyone who was an original series diehard fan of like episodes 4 through 6, when the prequels came out, they hated them and thought they sucked. Now, because of the latest 3 movies that came out, the same people who were the diehard fans loved the prequels and decided to say that the prequels are not as bad and they actually do fit the storyline. And now they love the prequels and the original, but they hate the last 3. So I do see a irony shift here on that. But like I said, I won't go too much in on that because that doesn't have much to do with tabletop.
If
But
we do a general discussion stream, we'll do that. But yeah, not right
yes,
now.
exactly. Yeah, no. I'm just saying I use Fate Core to play Star Wars because I like Star Wars, and I think Fate Core does Star Wars more justice than any other system, including D20. Because there was D20, I don't know, D6. We really should try that
We
one.
need to play that because I think you might like it.
We tried playing it a couple times. We just never, for some reason, hooked up. And I do actually have it. So I do like it. And I actually did run a couple test plays in the past with it. So I do love, I just I'm a big Star Wars fan. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, well, that's skills, everybody. We're going to move on to the next part, given the time. Hopefully we can get through some of these. So what do you guys think is next, ultimately? What else do you guys think we're going to talk about today? Oh, that is actually
Stunts.
Stunts is actually next. Stunts is very important. It's basically a special trait that your character has that changes the way a skill works for you. Stunts is very much how do I put it? Unique to one character. So if you're depending on how your unique character, I mean, it just adds uniqueness to a character to a game. And, you know, and not one character has the same stunt as another character. I love stunts. Stunts is something special, privileged way how a character uses a skill, and in like I said, unique. It's pretty common with tropes, talents, anything. So
if you wanted to have the power for your character, that is like really powerful, a stunt would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or my personal favorite, get over here, you know. I always think of, when I think of stunts, I always think of Mortal Kombat, you know, when they do some of the special moves, because I'm sorry, those special moves are stunts.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
Just think about it. It's basically, that's what a stunt is. It's your special move. The special move that makes your character unique. So hang on one second. Why don't we start talking? So I just want everyone else's opinion on some stunts here real quick. And
So what's your favorite stunt that your characters ever had, Toby?
One of my stunts, and it's the favorite one because whenever I played my characters, I don't choose my stunts right away. I choose my stunts as I'm playing the game.
And
it was,
I like that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun doing it that way because you don't know how your character is going to play or what's going to happen. So one of my favorite stunts is mental discipline. I got it in the hero game, and it's very situational. And it's because since I am the shepherd of humanity, I gain a +2 when using lore to flood someone's mind with forbidden knowledge using my superior intellect. So it's very interesting because I have a role, and it's a lore role. So I have a +3 in lore, and because we are doing superheroes, we have or super abilities, and because I have a 12th level intellect, I have a +2 lore whenever revealing something you know or have learned in your lifetime about the world. And so it's 3 plus 4 because of what power I have. So I could potentially roll a 7. But it's very situational. I have to be like in that person's head. I have to flood their mind.
You know, and that's the thing about stunts is they're very powerful. So you know, if a GM, and I'm not saying any GM is not smart enough to figure this out, but if a GM really wanted to you know, to keep order in the game, you know, you would add restrictions to how a stunt works.
Yeah.
Witch King, I did hear Toby's opinion on stunts. What about yours?
Honestly, I can't remember any.
Okay. Well, you didn't have to share any examples. I just wanted your opinion on.
Stunts. I agree with Toby on that, but I think the whole situational thing about them can. I know I'm probably being the most negative one in this review, but honestly,
I have a negative thing I'm going to add.
And I think that stunts can be an issue if you're trying to do certain things and you don't have, like, if your group doesn't have a steady access to fate points, because some GMs don't get used to that and players don't engage the economy, it cannot. I think the whole stunts and compelling and aspects and that kind of stuff can be very much an issue with Fate Core. I don't think that they have to be, but I think they can be, and that's something that I think is an issue in general with Fate Core. But I do like the game. It's not my favorite, but I do like it.
Well, that's why we're doing this review. We're not here to glorify the game, but we're here to bring the truth to the people and try to get
Yeah.
more people interested in it. I know giving maybe a negative review or a negative, the whole part of this review is to bring in our likes, our dislikes, and the pros and the cons, so that bring out the facts. Fate core is good for a lot of things. Cinematics, preparation. It's fast prep, but it does have some downfalls. I mean, it is what it is. I'm aware
One
of the
thing I
downfalls.
don't like about the stunts is that you only have a set amount, and once you have a stunt, you can't really change it.
Yeah, that is an issue.
You can change it, however, I think that requires talking to the GM. I don't think the milestones do specifically speak about changing stunts either. I think you might be right about that, but I'm a very flexible GM.
Oh yeah,
I like
from how it was explained is that once you have a stunt, it's permanent and it can't really be changed, and because you only have a set number of stunts, that's why I like choosing stunts while I'm playing the game, so that way I'm like, okay, this will be helpful. But it'd be great if you could have more. Because
I don't agree. No, I agree with you. I don't agree with the rule set on that, and I'm sorry to say, I have when we play, I have made changes to the stunt section, and I'm gonna let the audience know that right now. I will give some examples of some of the changes. Like if a stunt no longer fits the setting that we're playing, or the character has not used the stunt in a while because they were never placed in that situation to use a stunt, or it just never became useful, and the player comes to me and says, Tabletop, I really would like to change out the stunt. I'm not using it. I will allow a change out regardless, unless the rules do say that they can change out stunts at a certain milestone. But if we don't hit that milestone and you're still not using the stunt, I may be a little bit more flexible on that, because I want your character to be effective, not have stunts just laying around that you can't use, because then that doesn't make any sense. To basically tell you the rules, some of the basic rules of stunts and Fate Core is a player character does get 3 free stunts. And then 3 refresh to start the game. What a refresh is used is how many fate points you get at the start of the new session, and how many fate points you start with. So beyond 3 stunts, if you do want 1 additional stunt, you need to pay for a 4th stunt. You need to pay 1 refresh. For a 5th stunt, you need to pay 2 refresh. And now the game, the core rules do cap it off at 5 stunts. You're only allowed to have 5 stunts, and you're allowed to start the game. You're only allowed to go down to a minimum of 1 refresh. Well, once again, I'm going to add in, this is the changes that I do make. If you want to have 6 stunts and no refresh and no fate points to start the game, you want to earn your fate points the rough economy way, good luck with that. I will allow you to do it. Why? Because I don't believe in hindering the freedom of creative thinking. I don't know. Also, so that brings the question. Hey, Mr. Tabletop Junkie, how do you gain fate points and how do you power your stunts? Well, guess what? All stunts are not fate point powered. Again, flexibility. Talk to me. Okay, so you get a +2 to notice, or you're going to take a +2 to notice to create an advantage when you're aiming a gun at someone. So you're holding a gun, you're aiming, you want a +2 create advantage. Well, you're going to have to use a turn to use that stunt. Okay? Which gives you a +2 to create advantage. Guess what? So your shoot is a 4. The Witch King's shoot is a 4. He's taking a minute to aim. He's just trying to notice to make sure he can notice a specific body part or whatever. He rolls his notice. He's got a 2 for notice. He rolls a 2 on that, and guess what? That's a 4. Oh yeah, you can clearly see the guy's hand. You can take the freckle off his hand. You're going to blow off his hand. That's what you want to do. So for the next turn, for when they shoot, which he's got a 4 shoot, which King has a 4 to shoot. Plus he's holding when he's may not be in a high speed chase, but because he's holding gun, he's a very good marksman. He gets another 4, which is a 6. And then he gets a create advantage, which is an 8. Rolls a 2. Gates a 10. Yeah, you blow off that damn hand. So see how those stunts work. I use some stacking and some branching. So before we go much further, let's talk about what is refresh. Refresh is, like I stated before, is a number of fate points that you get to start every game with in every session, including the first session. The total resets of this number, unless you have more fate points at the end of last session, you get to keep those. Depending on how your GM rules, basically that is in the system. You get to keep whatever fate points you have from last session, unless GM changes that. I don't personally change that. Refresh is pretty basic. Unless you guys got anything else to add about refresh, I don't think we do.
No.
I mean,
No, there's not really any reason
Refresh
to
is
call on
easy.
about
refresh is not really. Refresh is just how many fate points you get back, and you spend it for stunts. You can gain more refresh, I believe, with a major milestone, but we will cover that in milestones at a later time. So we are at building stunts now. Building stunts allows you to help you build stunts. Stunts can allow you to add a new action to a skill, add a bonus to an action, which we've talked about, create a rule exception, which we've shared many examples on that. There is balancing stunt utility, and there's stunt families. Stunt families, you get 2 effects, stacking and branching. Now, we're going to stop probably the stream right here because we are getting close to, it is almost time for me to get going. We only have about 8 minutes left, or at least we're reaching the marker to where we should start wrapping this up, because I can only go 15 minutes over a certain amount of time, and we're only 8 minutes away from that time. So let me see if we...
I think we covered almost everything, if not everything already.
Not quite yet. We're getting there, though. Okay. We did get through a good chunk of this. So, some examples of each stunt type, since we did go over the default skills, we are going to show some examples of each stunt type. And like I said, in the demonstration, I do want us to focus a bit more on that. So we will talk about that outside the stream. But other than that, I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add so far about what we covered?
No.
Not that I can think of.
All right. So I figure our next stream that we're going to stream is, I'm switching, instead of doing Tabletop Tuesdays, we're going to do Tabletop Afternoon Mondays, because it's my availability. I will be able to have Mondays to do the stream. So I will be setting up. What's up?
I'll talk to you about that. It depends on the time on Mondays.
Same time.
Okay. Afternoon
the time.
for you, and then okay.
Right. Oh, yeah. To let everyone know, we're all in different time zones, so that's confusing.
Yeah, so when you said afternoon, I'm like, I work in the afternoon. Okay.
Okay.
It's afternoon for tabletop.
2:15 Eastern Standard Time, 1:15 for Central Time, and then your time, Toby, will still be 11:15. Yeah, no. The day is changing. The time is staying the same.
Okay.
Just due to availability and when I can have no one around me, basically. I got a huge family, so we're not going to talk about that. So, because all I need is a certain someone to say, I know who this guy is. He lives in my house. No.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
I can say that I know who this guy is, but that's it.
You
said, wait, it's John. No, I'm not going to make that joke. That'd be really bad.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make the joke. That'd be really awful, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
My joke was like, wait, yeah, I know that guy. See, I told you, I knew him. That's Tabletop. I knew him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And to let everyone know, my name is not John, it's Tabletop. Because the Witch King over there is dropping the ball. Got to keep my identity secret, everybody. I'm not telling you why. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to keep the mysterious going up. Like, man, who is this?
Honestly,
who is this great tabletop
really
junkie? We'll talk about that.
Just think about it. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Anyway, that just pretty much wraps up today, everybody. So, Witch King, do you got anything for our current, which is not really existent, but our future viewers?
Well, next time or in a little while from now, we'll be talking about Talislanta. And that will be very interesting.
I plan on doing that for a stream. And we're doing it in a podcast too. It's happening because I just love Talislanta. That is the other thing that the Witch King got me into. I love him in a non-platonic way, in a platonic way.
Yes,
it's
in a
non-platonic.
non-platonic way.
Non-platonic. Okay, thank you for
Not
correcting me on
romantic. There we go.
There we, yeah, we're just making sure about that. All right, Toby, do you got anything else to say for our viewers?
Thank you guys for viewing in the future. Thanks for
Please
watching the videos later on.
Yep, and
Please
if you do
like
watch his,
and subscribe.
you know what? The Witch King stole my thunder. Again.
Mhm.
All right.
Well, he is the Witch King. Come on.
All right. Well, he's not going to steal this thunder. All right, everybody. It was nice doing this stream. I hope we do get some future viewers, and I hope we start seeing people live during this, so that way that we can, get something in the chat and get to talk about, have some conversations with some actual other people in the world, and maybe answer some questions, because I hope I am answering everyone's questions regarding Fate Core, because Fate Core, I feel, is an underrated system that needs a lot more recognition than what it's getting. I think it deserves more. And that's what we are here to bring. We are bringing tabletop to you. So that, not just, not just, not just to us, but we want to spread out. And we are looking at building a community going forward, because we just love the systems that we are playing. I mean, simple as that.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is supposed to be the Fate Core wrap up, but unfortunately I'm going to have to rename the title, which is fine. We did get through a lot. I will say that we are more than halfway through this. So hopefully maybe next time we'll spend some time, there's not really much more information left to share, to be honest. And as you go on, I do recommend everyone buying the book, but please don't let some of the things, I did come across the book recently, because I do own a physical copy. And I was thumbing through the book just to see what we talk about going in the future. And I do see there's a lot of material covering certain other topics that I don't think needs a lot of discussion. We will cover those hopefully on the next stream. So, for today, this is Tabletop Junkie, telling everyone to game on, work hard, play hard, game hard, giving you my famous Tabletop Junkie salute. Enjoy the rest of your week, folks. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great and wonderful day. This is Tabletop Junkie, signing off.